Hey guys, you're watching Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and to our podcast on all streaming platforms. We're back. Just Hoop Talk.
Yeah.
You know the vibes. Just Hoop Talk. We're always here, man. Hey, welcome to another episode of Just Hoop Talk. This is the All-Star Recap with your hosts Justin Henry and Will Thompson. This episode is sponsored by 5 Star Auto Center, premier hand wash out in Rockland, California, focusing on hand washing, detailing, oil change, all your auto repair needs. Go visit 5starrockland.com.
Check them out.
We're talking about All-Star Weekend, man. All-Star event, dude. The game itself was incredible, man. We talked about the changes to the platform, to the fourth quarter specifically. I like the charity idea. We can go through each individual quarters too. What are your thoughts on overall on the game itself? Just like talk about watching the game and like what your thoughts were, your immediate thoughts were.
Well, the first thing I really liked was I liked Common's kind of intro thing that he did with like featuring Chicago, talking about D Rose and some of the players that came from Chicago. I thought that was super dope. Mm-hmm. That got me hype. I was like, okay,
bro. And even the intros, he was rhyming
that. Yeah, that was.
Intros,
I like that, bro. Like, no, I know some people made fun of it, but I like that. I was like, that's dope, man.
It was cool. You obviously tell like the Kobe tributes were there too. That was sprinkled throughout, man, and David Stern
well,
too. Yeah. No, that was Common. It was he was up there for a long time.
It was, bro. Like
I was like,
they were like,
performance.
They said the start time was 3:00. It was like 4:00 by the time they actually like threw the ball up and started playing.
He was like sweating and everything, man. And I don't know. And then Shaka Khan.
Yeah.
What do you think about? I got my own thoughts on that. What do you think What do you think about the Star Spangled Banner? Her rendition of it.
I missed that.
She's from Chicago.
Yeah, I missed that actually. I didn't see that.
Well, she was going and obviously wasn't hitting notes at the right time. I thought it was kind of like a protest type thing. She's like big into black culture. Yeah. So I almost took it as like a protest, to be honest. So I don't know. It remains to be seen. We'll see what media says about it. But that was just my personal, feedback. I was like, it seemed almost intentional.
Right, like she knows how to sing the song, right?
Yeah. So. But then they got to the game, man. It was a long, like you said, about an hour introduction, and then the new format was really cool, man. I liked it, dude. Obviously, the first 3 quarters were for charity, and the fourth quarter was too. But the first 3 was $100,000 each quarter, and then they reset the score at the beginning too, which was kind of cool. So the first quarter, obviously, Team LeBron took the first quarter, went to their charity, and then they reset at 0, man. What were you thinking, like when it reset at 0 to second quarter? What were your initial thoughts? Like, did you think it was gonna work? Were you kind of confused?
I was like, that's dumb. Why would they reset the score? I don't even know what the score is anymore. But then when it got down to the end of the quarter, and because now the players have an idea of what the final score or what they need to get to win for their charity, that made it dope, man. Like you could tell it mattered to them. It was almost like a little mini game winning shot, you know? I was like, oh, okay, this is dope, man.
It was cool. And I feel like the scoring too, like I think maybe they were playing for charity and they knew, but you could also tell the players knew like the total score. Yeah. Because when that second quarter hit, they kind of turned the gas on the East, or the Team Giannis turned on the gas. And you could just tell, like, they weren't letting up. They scored 50 that quarter. Yeah. Both quarters, the winning quarters, they scored 50 points. And it's like they knew it was going to come down to the fourth quarter at some point, But I thought it was cool they switched it up, and it wasn't just like, your normal All-Star game. There was the competitive edge, it felt like, in every single quarter. And then we got to the fourth, man. Actually, before we go to the fourth, what about Kawhi, bro?
Yeah, going off,
7 threes in the first half, like. It was a 6 or something like that. It was something insane, man. He was dropping the tray.
He took Steph Curry's spot for sure.
Yeah. Those guys were missing from this game too. But I mean, obviously in the first quarter, first and second quarter, even the third, we still saw like a lot of dunks, behind the back passes,
all the crazy lobs and stuff. Yeah.
So it was still entertaining, and then we got to that fourth quarter, man. New rules, 24 points added on to the highest total. And so I think the Team LeBron was down by like 8 or 9 points, and they had to come back. And so Team Giannis was up, so they added 24 to Team Giannis' score. And coming into it, I was thinking, oh man, this is gonna be short.
Yeah,
we talked about it.
That's
a little
what we talked about. Yep.
Were you surprised at all by how long it lasted?
I was very surprised. It definitely added a sense of urgency, because I think the players realized, like, if you give up a couple threes, that's halfway to 24. So every bucket mattered.
Dude, they were closing out. They
were
hard
dude.
on those 3-pointers.
Yeah, some dudes that I didn't even know they knew how to play defense. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here, dude? Dude, that was wild, man.
It was, and they left the starters out there too. Like they brought in, it wasn't even just the starters. It was like the vets,
their main guys.
The guys who they wanted to go to war with were out there.
Yep.
You saw CP3 out there. You saw on the East, I think even Kyle
Lowry was out there.
Man, like they were playing hard.
Yep. All the guys that have like a lot of experience, playoff experience, like big game experience, they were all out there, dude.
Yeah. And it was cool because they tied the quarter before that too, so the money rolled over from charity. They were playing for $300,000, which I mean that's not chump change.
That's a lot, man.
And I don't know what the players get out of it, but you could tell the crowd even was into it. How they had the crowds there. I love
how they showed they had the people from the charity there and they showed them kind of getting hype.
Yeah,
that was super dope. Everything they did like turned out perfectly.
Yeah.
Like if Adam Silver would have imagined a perfect scenario, I think that would have been exactly what it was.
I don't think it could have been any better, man. You got both teams playing defense. I think they're saying like in the first 3 quarters they were shooting over 50%. Both teams were, and then in the final quarter they shot like under 40%, like 38, 36%, something like that. They showed a graphic during the game, but you could just tell, bro, like there was a different energy in that quarter, and like you said, a different sense of urgency. What were your thoughts on the way that it ended? There's a lot of controversy on the way that it ended.
Yeah, I liked another thing I really liked were the matchups that kind of worked themselves out. Mm-hmm. Like LeBron had a couple opportunities at like game winners, which is really cool. Like to get multiple opportunities at game winners, like that's what that format kind of creates.
It's true.
Not just one game winner, but it also creates a scenario where people are missing potential game-winning shots too, which is kind of crazy to see. And then you get these matchups with like LeBron with Giannis on them, and you could see LeBron kept trying to get the screen.
LeBron was scared.
Yeah, he kept trying to get the screen to get Kemba Walker on him. Yep. He kept trying to switch with Chris Paul, like, "Hey, Chris Paul, come!" Like, why is LeBron and Chris Paul running a screen and roll? But it's just to try to get Kemba Walker on LeBron because he we saw a couple times where Giannis was denying LeBron,
blocked him up.
Yeah.
Probably the block of the year with Giannis, the block right off the backboard. But those individual matchups, I think we've gotten them before in the All-Star game, but not any
like
level that we did there. Like you saw the inner Mamba go off in these guys, Mamba mentality, like for real. And that's what they're obviously the 24 points was because of Kobe, the new Kobe All-Star MVP award as well. So those guys were playing for Kobe and to win the first one, and you could tell like Giannis. I think Giannis really wanted it.
Dude, yeah.
You could tell with the way he was locking up on defense, the way he was attacking the paint. Like he played like he wanted to win that game. Even Embiid, and you could see the guys like
Embiid was going
after the refs too. Like
yes, dude, they were going after the refs.
I remember there was one call where all 5 of the guys from Team LeBron were hounding her. I thought they were going to call it technical.
Yeah. The refs were like, yo, what? I thought this was the All-Star game. Like, what is going on? But these dudes, they wanted it, man.
What do you think about their style of play, man? Even the refs, they're calling. What were your thoughts on just like the refs overall?
I kind of liked that they were letting them play. You saw like a bunch of plays back to back to back that would have typically been fouls.
Yeah.
And then obviously towards the end they had to start calling some bigger calls, but I liked watching them play. I think one thing we talked about too is like you kind of saw like, hey, this is kind of being set up for someone to get hurt.
Yeah,
it's like they were getting physical down there. I remember
there was one play specifically Ben Simmons had either dunked it or did something. He slipped and fell, and I was like thinking, okay, as competitive as this gets, these guys that might be something to tweak later on because this event isn't for these guys to go get hurt,
right?
And be that competitive, especially if they're not gonna get anything on the other side of it, But I think overall, man, like you said, we got to see a few chances at game winners. I didn't like LeBron pulling up.
From super
deep, trying to end it. It would, I guess, if he would have hit it, it would have been crazy,
right?
Game winner. But he didn't hit it, and I think that one thing that has stuck out to me about LeBron is that he doesn't necessarily have that in him, man.
Right.
Like, and I think it's so evident and apparent in these games, just to kind of talk on not just the All-Star side, but the basketball side of it, I've always thought LeBron's one of my favorite players to watch because he's so talented.
Yeah.
But I think that's the part that everybody wants to see. Like, he did it one time and got blocked by Giannis.
Yep.
But that when it comes down to the game winner, can you go and drive and will your team to a victory?
Right.
It seemed like he kept passing it off, dude.
Those monster moments. I think that's one of the things that's missing from LeBron's like resume. Are those monster moments.
He did that before in the All-Star game too.
Yeah.
Kobe called him out for it too.
Yeah.
Remember that one? He was like, Kobe, he's like, you take that. Like, what are you passing it for? He passed it twice. And that's, unfortunately, I think that's part of what we'll see from LeBron. I mean, for his whole career, that'll define his career.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Davis went to the line for a free throw, man, to end it.
Yep.
And a lot of feedback on social media is that the game shldn't be ending on a free throw.
I know, that's hard to see, yeah.
But, if he would have made both free throws, it would have been a 3-point lead.
Yeah.
So I don't get what are your thoughts on ending on a free throw?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, it shouldn't end on a free throw because LeBron should have hit the shot or somebody should have finished it earlier. Like, that's just kind of the way the cookie crumbled. It's not like there weren't opportunities for the game to not end on a free throw, It's just like they kept missing. So I think that's just kind of the nature of that style of play. It's going to end one way or another.
And I don't mind it. I feel like you have the whole game to play. Like, sometimes it comes down to a clutch free throw.
Exactly.
And there could be a point where that free throw gets missed.
Yep.
And then what? We're going to say, it shouldn't end on a free throw? Like, there has to be some form of pressure to know that you got to hit this shot or it won't count. And I think that's just the beauty of having an all-star game. These guys knock down clutch shots.
Yep.
Anthony Davis made a clutch shot in his hometown. He won it. And even though he didn't win MVP, it's still like, okay, that's something that's an accomplishment he'll always have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knocking down the game winner in your hometown to win the game. So Kawhi got MVP, and you notice at the end of the game, like, everybody kind of just rushed the court. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was kind of interesting to see. I definitely noticed the players dipped out super quick.
They
man.
were not feeling that.
Because typically they'll stand on the court and dap each other up and congratulate Kawhi for his award. And as soon as all the kids rush the court, you can see the players are like, let's get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
That's cool. And I heard after the game, like, one of the comments that stuck out was Giannis. They were like, well, what's your game plan, Giannis? I think this went around on social. They're like, what was your game plan in the fourth quarter? And they were like, find James Harden and anybody who's guarding him, attack him. Like, it's kind of crazy how they just called his ass out, But you could tell these guys wanted to win, man.
Yep.
So
that was it. That was interesting too. Like, James Harden he did not look at, and we've seen that his whole career, dude. Like, all of a sudden he looks smaller. He didn't look as confident. Yeah. It's like, big moments come up, and all of a sudden James Harden is like, I don't want this ball.
You got to step back three, or they're not calling fouls for you. What are you going to do?
Dude.
You got an actual defender on you, somebody trying hard. I think that we're going to see a lot more of that in the playoffs, dude. That's been his knock the whole career. And you also saw guys like Chris Paul, like, stepping up. He had like 3-3.
Looked like a beast
big
out there,
threes out there, man. But you could just tell, like, who shines a little bit when the lights are brighter and who doesn't. Kyle Lowry stepping up and taking two charges, right?
Yep.
So, and he had a chance for a third or fourth if they were really calling him.
Yeah,
but
that dude's a winner for sure.
Playing to compete, man. I like it. I like what the All-Star games become, and hopefully we see this trend. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier in the season, but if they ever make that rule change to in-game tournaments, man, this would be an awesome format to blueprint.
That would be, honestly, that would be really interesting, and we see how hyped up it gets the players. Like, that could be, throw a little in-season tournament in there, throw this kind of as an aspect to it. It could be interesting, man, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. All right, well, that does it for another episode of Just Hoop Talk. As always, be sure to subscribe to the platforms. Be sure to subscribe to Just Hoop Talk. You know the hosts, Justin Henry, Will Thompson. We're out.
Yes, sir.
For more NBA, college, and hoops coverage, be sure to subscribe to Just Hoop Talk podcast on YouTube and all streaming platforms.